Live from Cool Studios, this is koolNews Early Edition. Live from Cool Studios, this is koolNews Early Edition.
Good morning, and it is a brand new start as we are now being live streamed on TVH News YouTube channel, and yes, we are now live on a brand new YouTube channel, TVH News. So, good morning to fellow viewers and listeners of Cool FM, as today it is a brand new month and it's July 1, 2024. So let's get into the headlines. What are the headlines you might have missed, and we will get into the current headlines as well. All right, let's begin. Double check. Okay, it is indeed working just fine. So we are seeing that the live stream is working. So that's good to hear. So yes, once again, viewers and listeners of Cool FM, we are live on TVH News YouTube channel, and we will be live streaming other editions later as for 11 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and Cool News Prime Time. So there you go. All right, so let's begin with this morning's headlines. What you have missed. Let's just getting the headlines, waiting for headlines to load. All right, let's begin with the first headlines. Senators on Sunday challenged the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corp. Bogor to name the former high-ranking cabinet official who had been lobbying for granting license to Philippine offshore gaming operators POGOs in the country. Bogor should name the official, if not the committee, chaired and headed by Senators Risa Hontiveros and Sherry Cachillian, should unmask this official so that not all former high-ranking cabinet officials will be looked upon with suspicion, and find out if he or she violated any laws. Senate President Francis Escudero said in a message to reporters. To be fair to all former cabinet members, Bogor should reveal the identity of this person so that he or she can defend himself. Senate Minority Leader Aquino Pimentel III said in his message. Funko Chair and CEO Alejandro Tanco said in a statement on Saturday that he would disclose the identity of the former cabinet official as well as the circumstances that led to the proliferation of criminal offshore gaming operations in the proper form. We are also ready to reveal the rules of other controversial individuals behind these Poco enterprises, Tanco said. Senator Joel William Wigna also dared Parker to name names, adding that Tanco's disclosure should be enough to prove to permanently ban Pogos in the country. They have infiltrated not only the business and gaming industries, allegedly with local and even high-ranking officials serving as the protectors. Our duty as public service is not to protect these illegal activities, but to put out people's welfare as our main priority, he said. We are not in show business, so there is no need to put up a blind item. The people need to know the truth, and we need to make them accountable for pushing the country into the pit of chaos, stressed William Weber. Kachilian, who is pushing for a total ban on Pogos, earlier said he would ask Pogo to submit to the Senate an official report on the alleged of the former cabinet official. Ontiveros on Friday said she would invite Tanco to attend the next hearing of the Senate Committee on Women, Children, and Family Relations and Gender Equality, which she heads. No schedule of hearing was set this week, but Ontiveros said they would set it soonest. I hope that the Bangkok chief deems it the right forum to reveal what he knows. Ontiveros said, noting that Tanco had only sent his subordinates to participate in the Senate inquiry. Whoever that ex-cabinet official turns out to be, the fact remains. Photos are being used to as a legal cover for scam house. The Senate investigation has shown that despite having legal license issued by Pogor, criminal activities still persist in Pogos, she added. Ontiveros also said that Pogos should stop arguing that illegal Pogos are different from those operating with valid government issued permits. Ontiveros said. The entire industry has been the cause of numerous crimes that endanger women, children, and the most vulnerable in our society, she said. Other senators have also been pushing for a total ban on pogos. Ontiveros and Cachilli had earlier urged the National Security Council to take up the matter of pogo operations with President Marcos since these enterprises have become a national security threat. They said authorities have already secured evidence linking the online gambling industry to transnational crimes such as money laundering and human trafficking. Cybercrimes rose by 21.8% in the first quarter of this year compared to the same period in 2023, the Philippine National Police reported on Sunday. The PNP entire cybercrime group reported 4,469 cybercrimes from January to March 2024, 21.84% more than the 3,668 incidents reported in the fourth quarter of 2023. The number comes to an average of 49 cybercrimes every day in the first quarter of 2024 compared to 40 in 2023. ACG Chief Major General Sidney Hernia said online selling scams topped the list of cybercrimes at 990, followed by 319 cases of investment scams and 309 cases of debit credit card fraud, among others. Hernia said the cybercrime wave may be due to increased online activity, sophisticated tactics of cybercriminals, and lack of public awareness. In February, ACG reported that cybercrimes surged by 68.98% last year, from 11,523 cases in 2022 to 19,472 incidents in 2023. The unit reported that cases of online scams surged by 94.64% from 7,208 incidents in 2022 to 14,030 cases in 2023. Sexual extortion also increased from 110 cases in 2022 to 121 incidents last year. The number of cybercrimes has increased continuously despite the 2022 enactment of Republic Act number 11934 or the SIM card Registration Act, which the National Telecommunications Commission claimed would curb cybercrimes. RA 11934 was the first bill that President Marcos signed into law in October 2022. Senate President Francis Escudero and Senator Grace Poe criticized the NTC for its implementation of Republic Act 11934. But NTC simply said the law was not a silver bullet against messaging scams, but the agency would tighten enforcement of regulations. So far, the tightening has resulted in more messaging scams. The substantial increase has become so bad that an official of the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission lamented last September that online scams have gotten worse than the country's problem with illegal drugs. The problem with online scams is now worse than drugs. Even the record from PMP reflects that scam cases have exceeded ordinary crime cases, said Gilbert Cruz, Undersecretary of the PAOCC. Other cybercrimes are identity theft, online threats, data interference, computer-related fraud, love scam, cyber label, and violence against women and children. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. already ordered the PNP to address cybercrimes, and the police put up cybersecurity desks in all police stations and increased the training of investigators. PNP Chief General Romel Marbel also announced an intensified drive against cybercrimes and the allocation of more resources and enhancing capabilities to combat the growing threat of cyber-related offenses. But the best measures against cybercrimes remains public awareness, and Marbel encouraged the public to report crimes to the police. Deputy Minority Leader Franz Castro on Sunday accused Senator Ronald De La Rosa of being afraid to face the victims of the bloody war on drugs he enforced when he was Philippine National Police Chief, as he declined to attend a House of Representatives inquiry into the extrajudicial killings known as Dokhang, Nok, and Flood Slates. The ACT Teachers Party List representative in a statement described the senator's refusal to appear before the House Committee on Human Rights as a cowardly act and an attempt to evade accountability. She, however, urged De La Rosa to reconsider. The panel, chaired by Manila Representative Bienvenido Ambate Jr., moved in De La Rosa and former President Rodrigo Duterte during its June 25 hearing to intend its continuing inquiry into the drug war deaths. De La Rosa had declined the invitation. He claimed he was advised by Senate President Francis Escudero that he is not required to attend the House hearings because of the interparliamentary courtesy between both chambers. Senator De La Rosa should not hide behind interparliamentary courtesy as an excuse. The truth is, he is afraid to face the victims of the bloody drug war that he and former President Duterte obstructed, Castro said. De La Rosa, as PNP chief, was the main architect of Duterte's drug war. The Human Rights Watch reported around 20,000 Filipinos, mostly from the urban poor, died with 2,555 of the killings attributed to the PNP. Castro noted De La Rosa's inconsistent stance on interparliamentary courtesy. She cited De La Rosa's invitation to House members, particularly Bataan party list Representative Raul Manuel, to attend Senate hearings. Why the double standard now? She said. Castro slammed De La Rosa's claim that the country's justice system was functional as shown by the conviction of a number of PNP personnel. The convictions are too few and far between. As one of the architects of this bloody war on drugs, he himself should face investigation and be held accountable, she said. Senator De La Rosa's refusal to participate only reinforces the suspicion that he has something to hide, she added. It is almost 6 o'clock in the morning, and we will have more headlines coming up on koolNews Early Edition. So stick around, people. Again, it is almost 6 o'clock. We will be right back for more headlines. welcome back to koolNews Early Edition. So let's continue with the headlines now. The Senate has yet to decide on the inclusion of the Bongbong Pilipinas, New Philippines hymn and pledge in the Chamber's flag ceremony. While he sees no problem including it in the Senate in Senate's flag rights, Senate President Francis Escudero on Sunday said, "We are still in the process of having it studied by the President by the Secretary. I have yet to receive their documentation and our comments," he added in a message to reporters. The House of Representatives, on the other hand, has already decided on this matter as it issued a memorandum dated June 26 enjoining all its departments and offices to recite the Bangkok Pilipinas hymn and pledge in its monthly flag raising ceremony. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on June 4 issued Memorandum Circular number 52 directing and encouraging all government agencies and local government units, LGUs, and state educational institutions to integrate the Bangkok Pilipinas hymn and pledge in their flag ceremonies. Critics of that directive said it echoed the Bagong Lipunang New Society hymn of the martial law regime of Marcos' father and namesake. The House Memorandum in Ordinance with MC 52 noted that Bagong Pilipinas is described as a government that is principled, accountable, and dependable, supported by cohesive social institutions. The new hymn and pledge aim to empower Filipinos to actively support and participate in comprehensive government intuitives, fostering profound and fundamental social and economic transformation across all sectors of society and government, the House directive said. In a previous interview, Escudero said that while he was not against MC 52, the right way to introduce the new hymn and pledge is to amend the flag and heraldic code and include it. Escudero's father, the late lawmaker and agricultural minister Salvador Escudero III, was the principal author of the flag law enacted in 1998. The Senate leader also noted that the president's order only applied to the executive branch. It does not automatically cover the Senate, the House of Representatives, the Supreme Court, and other constitutional commissions. He said, adding that they are only mandated to follow what is stated under the flag law. Senate Minority Leader Aquino Pimentel III agreed with Escudero that the memorandum circular is not sufficient. "I believe a law is needed in order to authorize that. On the other hand, Senator J.B. Ejercito said the national anthem and the odds under the flag law were more than enough to instill nationalism and love of country. Among the critics of the president's order were teachers groups who noted that the singing and reciting of the hymn and pledge would only consume more time than otherwise better spent holding classes. Others questioned the legality of MC 52. A critically ill activist and labor organizer behind bars is flagging for his urgent release as he battles stage 4 liver cancer and a host of other illnesses. In an open letter, political prisoner Ernesto Rimando, 55, age of 55, appealed to his family and friends, colleagues, and human rights advocates within and outside the country to help in advocating for my immediate release on humanitarian and just grounds. He asked that the public help call attention to his case by writing to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., Commissioner on Human Rights Chair Richard Papal Latok, and Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remula. With the help of my lawyers, I have filed a court petition for urgent release. Please help me fight for my life and my freedom, wrote Rimando, who said he was given 3 months to live by his doctors. The activist, a peasant organizer for the National Federation of Sugar Workers, was arrested in a 2021 raid on his rented apartment in Quezon City for illegal possession of firearms and explosives, a charge he denies. His arresting officers were six armed men in civilian clothes who failed to present a warrant and refused to identify themselves. Rimando said he was blindfolded, tortured, and interrogated on the spot. The arresting team also planted firearms and a grenade in my bag and prepared a hastily revised arrest warrant prior to my inquest, he added. A Quezon City court has dismissed the charges against Rimando, but he remains in detention because of 8 other charges filed across the country alleging that he was a convenience operative whose real name is Alan Morales. Rimando said he learned in May that his liver cirrhosis that had progressed to stage 4 cancer and that he also had pulmonary tuberculosis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and pulmonary embolism. My doctors have told me that without treatment, I may only have 3 more months to live, he said. But a few days after the treatment of my tuberculosis, my doctor stopped the treatment because of adverse side effects and the advanced stage of the cancer. Currently, I am a candidate for palliative care. Rimando, a former medical engineering student at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, spent most of his life championing labor rights following his political awakening during the anti-martial law movement that led to the 1986 EDSA People Power Revolution. This experience, he said, prompted me to upon my personal ambitions and dedicate myself to serving the workers and peasants. It was why, he said, he spent 20 years of his life doing research on workers' conditions in Cebu, much of it with the local organization Alyansa sa mga mamumuro sa Tugpo. Rimondo's case is not unique. As of June 2023, rights groups Carapan counts at least 778 political prisoners, many of whom were detained under the Duterte administration for the non-variable charge of illegal possession of firearms and explosives. A senior lawmaker on Sunday called on the Energy Regulatory Commission to stop the Manila Electric Co. or Morocco from charging consumers the 15 peso convenience fee for online transactions. Circle Representative Johnny Pimentel maintained that Morocco should cease from nickel and diming its customers using its online portal to pay their monthly bills. Morocco is nickel and diming its 7.9 million customers with the extra charge on top of their electricity bills, said Pimentel, who is vice chairperson of the House Committee on Legislative Franchise. He explained that nickel and dime is a pricing scheme where a business collects extra small fees for what are supposedly additional services, pointing out that the at mass extra small fees total to a lot of cash over time. Morocco claims that the convenience fee goes to its payment partner, CIS Center Incorporated. However, Center, which is engaged in the bills payment collection business, is actually 95% owned by Morocco itself, Pimentel said. Thus, there is no separate Morocco partner. It is Morocco itself ultimately collecting the convenience fee, the lawmaker said. He urged the ERC to compel Morocco to scrap the convenience fee, which has become an inconvenience to customers reeling from high utility bills and inflation. Pimentel emphasized that under Republic Act number 7394 or the Consumer Act of the Philippines, the Senate is duty bound to protect the interests of consumers, promote their general welfare, and set the standards for the conduct of trade and commerce. Morocco is currently seeking the renewal for another 25 years of its congressional franchise, which is undergoing the scrutiny of the House panel on the legislative franchise. Let's refresh and see if we have brand new headlines for this hour for at this time. Let's see. We do have few new headlines. The Philippine Coast Guard rescued 8 fishermen on Saturday after the engine of their motorized boat exploded at Barrio de Masilog, Panatac, or Scarborough Shoal. According to the PCG, vessels of the China Coast Guard and People's Liberation Army Navy initially tried to block one of the ships but eventually offered it to help in the rescue operations through the intervention of the PCG's all-female unit Angels of the Sea. PCG spokesperson Rio Amero Armando Balilo said the engine of fishing boat Akio exploded before noon on Saturday due to a faulty battery. The PCG's BRB Sindanggang MRRV 4407 was immediately directed to respond and assist the fishermen, two of whom sustained second-degree burns on their sinking boat, some 31 kilometers 70 nautical miles southwest of Rancho de Manzilong. Balilo said the Sidangan they received radio challenges and also experienced shuttering and initial blocking by the Chinese ships. The CCG and PLAN vessels stopped shuttering our ship when they were informed by the Angels of the Sea on board about the humanitarian mission, he added. He said the CCG then launched two rigged inflatable boats and offered to help the 8 fishermen of the Akio. In times of emergencies, the safety of life should always be our priority. The PCG and CCG communicated in a diplomatic manner and set aside of severity in the spirit of humanitarianism. Balito said. PCG Commander CG Admiral Ronnie Gavan said the swift issue rescue operation proves the significance of our constant presence at Bacho de Masilog. We will not elevate tension, but we will remain firm on our mission. to ensure that the safety of lives at sea, he added. The Sindanggang towing the help submerged fishing boat via arrived at Subic Bay, Zambales province on Sunday morning. Meanwhile, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines on Sunday called on the government to ensure the protection of Filipino fishermen in the West Philippine Sea. In a statement, the country's top organization of lawyers said its governing board adopted a numerous position citing international law that Filipino fishermen have the legal right to go fishing within the country's exclusive economic zone, and the Philippine government is duty bound to provide protection to our fishermen inside this zone. Also citing the 1987 Constitution, IPP said the government is duty bound to provide protection to our fishermen inside this zone. And scientists are expressing concern over the continuous environmental degradation in the West Philippine Sea amid the worsening dispute over territorial boundaries with China, according to oceanographer Dio Florence Onda. Plastic pollution, climate change induced coral bleaching, and overfishing, among others, are the main problems on the identified challenges that have now pushed the Philippine waters and the rest of the South China Sea to a very critical point. The scientists are very worried because we talk about territories, but degradation is continuously happening. The sad thing is that probably when we come to the point where we have already resolved our disputes, there's nothing to protect anymore. So what's the value of that? Onda said in a recent dialogue organized by the Department of Foreign Affairs Foreign Service Institute. Onda, who serves as an associate professor at the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute, said there was an ongoing effort to encourage other countries to return to the negotiation table and tackle the environmental problems in the South China Sea. Science itself has been pushed as a non-aggressive approach or intervention for conflict resolution since the 1990s in the South China Sea, he said. For example, plastic pollution, on that said, was a very neutral, progressive, and prevalent topic that could serve as a jumping point for discussions. He said, based on the studies that mentioned how much plastics go out on the system, Manila Bay was still the most polluted with 23.77 plastics per square meter, followed by Eastern Palawan 5.48 and Western Palawan 0.84. Surprisingly, he said Asa, an island located far away in the middle of the South China Sea, recorded a pollution index of 7.71, higher than Western Palawan. The first time I went to Pagasa, I thought it was paradise, but no. I spent 2 days cleaning up the coast, trying to collect those plastics on that set. It's not an isolated case, he added, because even in Taiwan or Taipei, where he also went, isolated islands accumulated piles of trash and plastic, which usually comes from other bodies of water connected to the sea. In addition to analyzing the amount of plastics, Onda and his team also identified the usage of the plastics to determine what industry, organizations, and sectors were contributing to the problem so the targeted policies and intervention could be developed. In Palawan, he said the majority of the plastics were formed fragments, fishing lines, ropes, and strings, which meant that most of the waste came from the fishing and maritime industry. In Manila Bay, the most common types of waste were thin plastic wraps, formed fragments, and straws, which came from the food and commercial industry. The maritime scientists said their team also identified the origins of the plastics found on Pakasa Island, and based on the results during the northeast monsoon, 60% of the plastics were foreign. During our southwest monsoon, 90% of the plastics come from Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, China, Taiwan, and even Singapore. I always refer to this as the ASEAN or Association of Southeast Asian nations Convention of Trash on the quip, adding that it showed the transnational boundary nature of the problem. Asked how the environmental problems in the South China Sea could be addressed, Onda noted that a low-hanging fruit would be data sharing in the region. Different studies have been done in the South China Sea, but they are not available. One thing that we are pushing for is a low politics scientific symposium to talk about how we are going to approach the problem, he said. Onda emphasized the need for information as well as support for scientists who are in a good position to push for convenience building in the West Philippine Sea. At the end of the day, we always ask the scientists, what's the status of the South China Sea? What's the status um, of the environment? We can't do that if we don't give them support. We can't do that if they can't go out to the sea because there's no gasoline in the vessel, he said. Building capacity entails building a framework to also support the scientists in the Philippines, he added. It is almost 6:30. Yes, it is almost 6:30 people. We still have a long way to go for the morning headlines right here on Cool News Early Edition. Stick around. It is now exactly 6:30 in the morning, and Cool News Early Edition will return after these messages. Welcome back to koolNews Early Edition. Let's continue with the headlines for now. The landmark Sofitel Philippine Manila Plaza officially shuts down on Monday after 46 years amid safety concerns and an escalating labor dispute. The hotel, last managed by the multinational tourism company Alcor SA under a Sofitel brand, bid farewell on its Facebook, thanking guests for memories that have left an indelible mark on our hearts. The property, owned by the government insurance service, was one of 12 hospitals that were built in a rush in the early 1970s as part of preparations for the annual meeting of the International Monetary Fund World Bank, which was held in Manila in 1976. After the after the IMFWP meeting, management of the hotel was contracted to the local Starwood hotel chain and was known as the Westin Philippine Plaza until 2005. The following year, Core SA acquired the management contract and renamed the hotel as Sofitel Philippine Plaza. In May, however, Upcore announced that the hotel will have to be permanently closed after 34 fire incidents affected the property's out, out structural integrity. However, the National Union of Workers in Hotel, Restaurant, and Allied Industries released on Sunday a statement criticizing the closure process. According to the union, Philippine Plaza Holdings Incorporated, the hotel's owner, terminated over 1,000 of the hotel's employees due to the closure. The union argued that this vote is decisive, noting that despite appearances, PPHI still has plans for renovations within the premises. The statement claimed that the hotel management has extended their lease with the GSIS until 2041, with plans to potentially extend further to 2026. This extension, the union claimed, is to earn back at least the 3 billion to pesos to 4 billion pesos, possibly even more, spent on renovations. It is clear that the PPHI has plans for the hotel's future, yet the workers themselves have been terminated, leaving them in the dark and unemployed. The union statement read, the union characterized this as nothing less than union busting at the cruel, greedy, and heartless hands of PPHI. The union accused PPHI and Accor SA of violating labor standards, asserting that PPHI has failed to work with the union meaningfully with regard to their plans for the hotel. All the workers ever wanted was if the hotel will reopen to be guaranteed the retention of their jobs and the respect and recognition of their unions and collective bargaining agreement, Lou Roaring said. Despite the closing, despite the closure, the union had said it would stage an unrelenting campaign with international allies to hold Accor accountable for what they see as complicity in PPHI's actions. The dispute has caught political attention, with Senator Rizal Ontiveros calling for an investigation of the labor policy implications of the hotel closure. The union, for its part, has vowed to keep fighting, although the hotel workers themselves during the eventual reopening shall be the ones to cut the ribbon. So as long as one of us remains standing, the fight is not yet over, to arrange that. Five of the 27 Filipino crew of MV Transport Navigator, which was attacked by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, arrived in the country on Sunday afternoon, according to the Department of Migrant Workers. This is the first batch of the 27 Filipino seafarers who were on board the vessel that was attacked by the Houthi rebels last weekend as they passed through the Gulf of Aden, the DMW said. The agency also said the five seafarers received financial and other assistance from the national government. Migrant Chief St. Leo Raptag, Jerome Pamlolina, Assistant Secretary for Sea-Based Overseas Filipino Workers Concerns and Overseas Workers Welfare for Administration Deputy Minister Honey Quino welcomed the seafarers at Ninoy Aquino International Airport. According to reports, one of the 27 Filipino crews sustained a minor injury due to shattered glass in the vessel. Before the incident, the Philippine government had barred Filipino seafarers from boarding vessels passing through the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. Caltech said the DMW required mining agencies to submit an affirmation letter or written guarantee that cruise vessels with Filipino crew members would not transfer to the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. And now for the international headlines. North Korea launched a ballistic missile off its east coast on Monday. South Korea's military said a day after the North brought offensive and overwhelming responses to protest a new U.S. military drill with South Korea and Japan. The Joint Chiefs of Staff said the launch was made on Monday morning, but gave no further details, including how far the weapon traveled. The launch came 2 days after South Korea, the US, and Japan ended their new multi-domain trilateral drills. The Freedom Edge drill drew a US aircraft carrier and destroyers, fighter jets, and helicopters from the three countries, and the three countries practiced missile defense, anti-submarine, and maritime interdiction drills. On Sunday, North Korea's foreign ministry issued a lengthy statement strongly denouncing the US, South Korea, and Japan over their three-way drill. It called the drill an Asian version of NATO that openly destroys the security environment on the Korean Peninsula and contained a US intention to exert pressure on Russia and slay surge to China. The North Foreign Ministry said it will firmly defend the sovereignty, security, and interests of the state and peace in the region through offensive and overwhelming countermeasures. Monday's launch was the North's first weapons firing in 5 days. Last Wednesday, North Korea launched what it called a multi-warhead missile in the first known launch of a developmental advanced weapon meant to defeat US and South Korean missile defenses. North Korea said the launch was successful, but South Korea dismissed the North's claim as deception to cover up a failed launch. In recent weeks, North Korea has exploded numerous trash-carrying balloons toward South Korea in what it has described as a tit for tat response to South Korean activists sending political leaflets via their own balloons. Meanwhile, North Korea opened a key ruling party meeting Friday to determine what it called important immediate issues related to works to further enhance Korean-style socialism. On the meeting's second day session Saturday, leader Kim Jong-un spoke about some devaluations obstructing the country's efforts to improve its economic status and unspecified important tasks for resolving immediate policy issues, North Korea's state media reported Sunday. French voters faced a decisive choice on July 7 in the runoff of snap parliamentary elections that could see the country's first far-right government since the World War II Nazi occupation, occupation, or occupation, or no majority emerging at all. Projections by polling agencies suggest the far-right National Rally stands a good chance of winning a majority in the lower house of parliament for the first time, but the outcome remains uncertain amid the complex voting system. In Sunday's first round, the National Rally arrived ahead with an estimated one-third of the votes. The new Popular Front coalition that includes center-left, Greens, and hard-left forces came out in second position, ahead of the President Emmanuel Macron's centrist alliance. So how does it work? The French system is complex and not proportionate to nationwide support for a party. Excuse me. Legislators are elected by district. Over 60 candidates who won at least 50% of Senate's vote have been elected outright. In addition, the two top contenders, alongside anyone else who won support from more than 12.5% of registered voters, are qualified for the second round. In many districts, three people made it to the second round, though some tactics to block far-right candidates have already been announced. The left-wing coalition said it would withdraw its candidates in districts when they arrived in third position in order to support other politicals opposed to the far-right. Macron's centrist alliance also said some of its candidates would step down before the runoff to block the national rally. This makes the result of the second round uncertain, despite polls showing that the National Rally Party has a good chance to win an absolute majority, that is at least 289 out of the 577 seats. The National Assembly, the lower house, is the more powerful of France's two houses of parliament. It has the final say in the law-making process over the Senate, dominated by conservatives. Macron has a presidential mandate until 2027 and said he will not step down before the end of his term. If the National Rally another political force than his central alliance gets a majority, Macron will be forced to appoint a prime minister belonging to that new majority. In such a situation, called cohabitation in France, the government will implement policies that diverge from the president's plan. France's Northern Republic has experienced big cohabitations, the last one under conservative President Jacques Chirac with Socialist Prime Minister Lionel Jospin from 1997 to 2002. The Prime Minister is accountable to the Parliament, leads the government, and introduces bills. In case of cohabitation, policies implemented are essentially those of the Prime Minister, political historian Jean Garrigues said. The president is weakened at home during cohabitation, but still holds some powers over foreign policy, European affairs, and defense because he is in charge of negotiating and ratifying international treaties. The president is also the commander in chief of the country's armed forces, and it's the one holding the nuclear codes. It's possible for the president to prevent or temporarily suspend the implementation of a certain number of the prime minister's projects since he has the power to sign or not sign the government's ordinance or or decrees, argued Gues added. Yet the prime minister has the power to submit this ordinance and decrees to a vote of the National Assembly, thus overriding the president's reluctance. He noted. During previous cohabitations, defense and foreign policies were considered the informal reserve field of the president, who was usually able to find compromises with the prime minister to allow France to speak with one voice abroad. Yet today, both the far right and the leftist coalition views in this area differ radically from Macron's approach and would likely be a subject of tension during a potential cohabitation. According to the Constitution, while the president is the head of the military, it's the prime minister who has the armed forces at his disposal, Gary Gues said. In the diplomatic field also, the president's perimeter is considerably restricted, Gary Gues added. Far-right leader Jordan Bardella, who could become prime minister if his party wins the majority of the seats, said he intends to be a cohabitation prime minister who is respectful of the constitution and of the president of the republic's role, but uncomprom- but uncompromising about the policies people implement. Bardella said that if he were to become prime minister, he would oppose sending French troops to Ukraine, a responsibility Macron has not ruled out. Bardella also said he will refuse French deliveries of long-range missiles and other weapons capable of striking threats within Russia itself. Well, what happens if there's no majority? The president can name a prime minister from the parliamentary group with the most seats at the National Assembly. This was the case of Macron's on centrist alliance since 2022. Yet the National Rally already said it would reject such an opinion because it would mean a far-right government could soon be overthrown, though through a no confidence vote if other political parties join together. The president could try to build a broad coalition from the left to the right, an opinion that sounds unlikely given the political divergence. Prime Minister Gabriel Attal hopes Sunday to be able to have enough centrist lawmakers to build a majority of projects and ideas with other Republican forces, which may include those from the center left and the center right. Experts say another complex option would be to appoint a government of experts unaffiliated with political parties, which would still need to be accepted by a majority at the National Assembly. Such a government would likely deal mostly with day-to-day affairs rather than implementing major reforms. If political take too long amid summer holidays and in July's 26 to August 11 Olympics in Paris, Guerrero said a judicial period is not ruled out, during which Macron's centrist government would still be in charge of foreign affairs, pending further decisions. Whatever the National Assembly looks like, it seems that the Constitution of the Fifth Republic is flexible enough to survive these complex circumstances. Melody Margaret, a public law expert teaching at Sciences Po Paris, said in a written note. Institutions are more solid than they appear, even when faced with this experimental exercise. Yet there remains another unknown in the equation to the population's ability to accept the situation, Margaret wrote. And and the last headline for this morning, Former House Deputy Speaker Lito Atienza warned senators against joining the stampede created by the divorce bill, saying that approving such measure would violate the Philippine Constitution. In a statement, Atienza said lawmakers should follow the Constitution and not violate it. There are already laws which address some of the reasons the proponents use as basis for the divorce law, such as violence against women and children. Abuse husbands and fathers can be jailed for violating existing laws, Atienza said. He then reprimanded congressmen who approved the law not to celebrate prematurely. Atienza claimed that they are only violating God's law but our constitution as well. We will be going over time for 2 minutes, so just give me a second. If they insist on passing this law, we will take it all the way to the Supreme Court. We will also question the legality of the manner in which the bill was approved, said Atienza. And that is it for Cool News Early Edition. As always, thank you so much for your continuous trust and support. For more news, updates, and information, keep it right here on Cool FM. From the station that cares for you, I am Hasbir, and the headlines continues later with Cool News at 11 a.m., Cool News at noon, 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and Cool News Prime Time at 9 p.m. Until later at 11 a.m., I am Aster, and this has been Cool News Early Edition. Have a good morning, stay safe, and take care, and we will see you later for more headlines at 11 a.m. Once again, have a good morning, and goodbye for now.